In Rainbow Six Siege, there are two sides, attack and defense. Naturally, the layout of the map either favors attackers or defenders. Skyscraper is the most defender-sided map in the history of Siege. It has a shocking 60% defense win rate across the entire lifespan of the map. That's right, 15,000 of the 25,000 rounds played on Skyscraper were won by defenders. And with that in the perspective, the next two most defender-sided maps, Consulate and Lair, only have around a 55 and 56% attacking win rate. And they have a smaller sample size too. Now, M80 recently won the Munich Major, making them the best team in the world and one of two teams ever to become two-time major champions. And Skyscraper was their strongest map. But in order to understand why they are so good at this map, we have to take a look back at the regular season of Pro League that took place before the major. Well, in the very last week of the regular season, M80 debuted their Skyscraper for the first time in this stage and 7-0 Team Envy. Now, this was expected because they started on defense. For those who don't know, in a Siege Pro League game, there are 6 rounds per side. That means they won 6 straight rounds in a row on defense and then just had to win 1 in attack, which makes sense considering it's the most defender-sided map in the history of Siege. But the next day, which was the last game of the season, M80 would run it back on Skyscraper, but this time it was against Space Station Gaming, who were the champions of the last stage of Pro League and also happened to dumpster M80 on Skyscraper 7-2 in order to knock them out of playoffs and also international event qualification last stage. Not to mention, this game was the game M80 had to win if they wanted to have an undefeated Pro League season. And so they go on to a Sky, but this time M80 are starting on attack. Usually a side where you're hopeful to even win 1, maybe 2 rounds on to start with a huge deficit when you flip to defense. Oh wait, sorry, what happened? M80 got a perfect 6-0 attack half against SSG and 7-0'd them.
M80's just gonna decide to take no prisoners. SSG might be scrambling to deal with this. Something that we have never seen at this level in North America.
A 6-0 and suddenly entered M80's lap.
Now, by the time M80 won the Munich Major, they had the highest attacking win rate on Sky in the world at a whopping 70% attacking win rate, while the rest of the world at the event had a 44% attacking win rate on this map. And I think this flawless half they achieved against SSG is the perfect place to see what caused them to be so successful at this map. Now, SSG are defending T, which is the most popular bomb site and the strongest bomb site on Skyscraper, regarded by many players, pro and ranked players, to start off the game. Now, you might notice something very special about this strat, which is that a lot of the players are actually not on the site. They're actually all the way extended over to office side of the map. SSG have a clash on the cups rotate so they can go outside and spot players outside, a mirror on the wall with holes eventually being made on this to create an angle to prevent anyone from walking off a spout, and double reinforcements in exhibition side to create a super strong crossfire and office hold on the opposite side of the map. That's right, Skyscraper is so defender sided that you can create a stronghold and hold the entire opposite side of the map away from sight to prevent the attackers from even entering the building, because you know there's a bomb site that's going to be here too, and because that bomb site is so strong, you might as well hold it when it's not even the bomb site. Now, from the looks of it, M80 are going from a default office across clear, and SSG start running bodies over here to basically fight this to the death. You can see right here in a little short moment when he pops up on screen that Fultz is going to walk in from the terrace of the map. Benjamin Master is holding it. Ashton's going to be on this cups rotator to deny outside the building, and despite the fact that Gavin did get this office wall open, he has a mirror staring at him, he's gonna have a clash staring at him, there's a bullet tracer here for a defender and tears. They've basically put the entire team over here. Now, this is a common response for defense on Skyscraper because the map is so goddamn defender sided that you can essentially just flood 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders over here and prevent the attackers from entering the building at all. Just give them no chance to get any space and win or lose the round over here, because office is a bomb site anyways. Why not just hold it when it's not a bomb site either? And if you're a mini right now, you're like, okay, how the hell I'm gonna attack this, because they have this crazy setup and we only have 1, 2 players over here. I mean, where are the rest of M80's bodies? How do they expect to do an office across with only 2 players? Well, that's because the rest of the players on Amaru are actually on the opposite side of the map with Amaru, and they're gonna Amaru straight into the karaoke bomb site windows, smoke off the line of sights. There's only 1 player over here with smokes. He's gonna completely whiff them. No one is here. It's a ghost town, and M80 are gonna get the bomb down completely for free. That's right, M80 used the distraction and the fake pressure of what seems like a offense across clear to draw out the aggressive defensive response from SSG, pull their bodies all the way to the offside of the map to completely vacate the bomb site itself and plant for free. And now, not only that, Capitao still has a fireball, and at 16 seconds shoots it down, and the round is basically over because no one can get onto the diffuser itself, because the time it took for the defenders to come all the way over and rotate back from office side, the bomb already ticked down to around 20 seconds, and at that point the round is basically won. By the way, when have you ever seen a picture like this in Siege before, right? Like, the bomb's about to defuse timer to go all the way down, and there's still 8 people up in the lobby. Never seen before, but only done by the strategic brilliance of what it means to truly understand attack on Sky. Fun fact, this attack was also copied by the second most successful attacking team on Skyscraper, which also happens to be a North America team. Can you tell why they were the second most successful attacking team? Because they got inspired by a lot of the attacks on Menu. Same thing here. Look, all the bodies are over on the office side of the map. Zoom in right here, Dapper. You can literally see it draws the attention of W7M as they start rotating the bodies over. These bodies start all moving over to the office side of the map, and that's exactly when Wildcard chooses to strike, throwing down the smokes. W7M get an opening kill, but it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even succumb to anything because Spiker's just going for the bomb plant. And it's like, look at this. Just 4 people over here. This guy's not even ready to plant. Just completely torn apart by the strat, because internationally, Brazil had not seen this kind of skyscraper attack before. Anyways, I digress. Going into the next round, SSG chooses to defend the office, and similar to the last side, they also extend to the T side of the map, extending opposite of the map as well. Regardless of the T setup, it's not going to matter much, because as you can see from MAD spawns on the tower side over here, that they're going for a office direct. Now, an office direct is typically one of the hardest attacks to pull off in the game, simply because of how many angles there are inside of office that are just purely defender sided. As we take a sneak peek in the site, you can see there's so much utility on the window that goes into the site, and also a one-way Azami. And on top of that, they are using opened mirrors in order to make it terribly difficult to get the walls open, because the defenders just lay C4s and impacts and have angles for them, as well as prevent walk-ups. And if you want a good idea of what this looks like, well, this window that the attackers usually want to hop in through now is completely a one-way. They'll see your feet when they hop in. Good luck getting in through that window, even if you manage to get in, because there's these 2 vault up positions and a bomb chassis for the defender to hide behind. And as well as this site breach over here, where you just basically have a line of sight with that mirror they put down earlier, as well as this stone desk position in the middle of the site, just being ridiculously powerful for defenders to play across, even if you want to get up to get this wall. No matter what, as an attacker, you're going to have to watch a guy running out on your cups rotate, or the quintillion angles in sight that you have to entry into. So looking at the round setup for M80, it looks like a death sentence. It looks like they really have no way to get into the map. I want you guys to notice diffusers in underneath with Buck. Now, that's going to be really, really important for later and a part of the M80 strategy, but for now, Buck by itself underneath is not too powerful. Now, I don't know how, but Hot and Cold just gets a pick straight up walking up to the wall. And right now, at this point, SSG typically have figured out that M80 are doing this office direct. But here's where M80's execute starts to happen. Buck by itself is not the powerful, but paired with Grim, it's super powerful. Kavini is shooting out his Grim launchers right here. And off of the pings being inside of the site, you can hear the bees going off behind the defenders. The Buck can now get pings underneath to buck out positions from. On top of all that, Gunner is holding the rotate back to site from that T side extend, where he's on this terrace window, essentially able to guard if anyone wants to come back to help the site, which SSG are desperately trying to do, because MAD already have an opening pick and they're going for the direct office attack. And because Gavin shot Grims all over the exposition side of the map, as well as the stone desk, you can't sit here because the Buck's gonna buck under you. You can't sit on these little vault ups because the Buck will also be able to kill you from there too. I actually impacted myself because my dry run settings are just that low, but you get my point. And now that suicidal hop in for Blitz that we thought looked so terrible because there's 17,000 different angles on it, looks more doable for Kino, because now you see the player underneath, he's literally getting bucked out by Diffuser as the Grim ping is live pinging his location, and the shield just gets to cross straight through because he doesn't have to worry about his left side unless they go for a crazy overextending play like this. And thankfully for Kino, he's one of the best shield players in the league, and they get a successful entry off of that, completely shutting down SSG on a really clean office attack. Now SSG go to T side, and MAD are likely not going to go for the same kind of cheese push again because that's predictable and they're going to have a response for it. Now skyscraper is the most defenders on the map in the history of Siege because of how many power positions defenders can hold. Just like I showed you last round in office, on the T side of the map, Geisha is one of the most powerful positions in the map. You need to hold Geisha down because it denies the direct repellent that MAD were going for last round. And the position itself is so powerful. I mean, the attackers have a window and a wall, but even if they open this wall, then you have the secondary wall to protect you from the line of sight. And they also have this massive stack of boxes to protect you from anything. Not to mention, defenders typically have feet holes across drum and extend out to office side for the particular reason of being able to hold this control and deny any hop-ins or entries into Geisha. It's almost impossible to take this position by itself. But see, for MAD, a powerful position isn't necessarily something to avoid. A powerful position means someone will always be there playing in that same position, playing in a predictable spot. And a predictable position can mean a guaranteed opening kill if you execute it correctly with enough utility. MAD bring the gridlock, capital, and ace in order to target the Geisha player out for what I like to call a Geisha opening kill strat on attacking skyscraper. They first opened the exterior Geisha wall, as we saw with the ace charge earlier, and they next use a capital smoke to open the inner Geisha wall so the player inside drum is not able to actually see and shoot off whatever hard breeze charge you just pushed onto this Geisha wall. Now thankfully for Newers playing inside here, Newers has impacts and he's able to impact trick both of the ace charges going out onto his Geisha wall, which is great for him because otherwise if they had breached this wall fully open, I mean, you're just not able to sit anywhere inside of Geisha itself. You would have to back up to the Geisha connector, which is your next line of safety. And MAD are no stranger to this obstacle, and because of that, they've brought enough util for it because this Geisha connector area is actually exactly where MAD want the guy. You see, by opening up the window and wall of Geisha, they are essentially restricting the movement of the defending Geisha player to only be around behind the black box and what's protected from the wall. Now, typically the Geisha player could get through the open rotate right next to him in that room if it weren't for the repelled player on the karaoke window for MAD, which essentially blocks off the cut through the rotate and blocks off the lead from the door. And now by having these angles from the repel and the breach and also being able to wallbang through this as well, MAD have essentially restricted all the movement of the Geisha player except for this tiny little box standing right here for the Geisha player. Now, typically, the Geisha players are comfortable here because it's such a powerful position, but MAD have a fuck ton of util. And so they start throwing down gridlocks to prevent his leave. They start bouncing a nade into his corner. They start firing off everything, and he's dead. Look at the sequence of that utility from MAD. I'm going to play it back. The gridlocks to essentially block off the exit from the player to leave. The nade bounced off of the corner of the rotate in order to capture any player in this corner. The capital bolt on the double doorway, as well as the capital bolt on the black box itself. This Geisha player had nowhere to go because by predicting the movement of the Geisha player, cutting off their angles, forcing them into a powerful position that they think is invincible, they actually have a predictable position to dump util and go for a guaranteed kill. And that they do. And Newers immediately dies because he's cut off from the karaoke window. Now, SSG still really want Geisha control because it's so powerful. If they give this up, MAD will have free ability to take into Geisha and therefore plant on the pink window that they did last round. So you see Ashen trying to desperately retake into Geisha, but it doesn't work because Gavini is cutting him off. On top of this, Diffuser is already underneath as Ash, denying any player that would have been able to see for the plant once it goes for the Prelin, once it does happen. Fultz drops down to try to go for a pick for him, unfortunately, and the casters talk about skyscraper having a 78% defending win rate until this matchup, and now MAD go for the repellent plant. Unfortunately, it gets downed by the players of SSG, but it doesn't matter because MAD, they're just baiting out the response. One reason they are so powerful on this map is how patient they are in tight situations. You see they're still picking up a player, it's a 5v2, clean this up because they understand the pressure that their opening kills create. By getting these opening kills, it forces SSG to try to retake onto their powerful positions, and by punishing that movement and not rushing too far ahead to go straight for the objective or ending the round, they can get immensely, overwhelmingly dominant round wins against SSG. SSG, and now look at them. Look at the way they're playing this win con. He died to a gridlock, but there's 4 players on repel, denying that one case from being defused. Just unwinnable round. This looks like they're almost playing Skyscraper like it's CS, with like the nade stacks and the fires and the floods, and it's beautiful to see this style of play in Siege. As a result of the excessive usage of Capital for both of their T attack strats so far, SSG go for a Capital ban against M80. Okay, I'm in a different shirt right now because I forgot how to record a video again, so I did it across 2 different days, but SSG are playing Kitchen now, and this round is a lot more default than the other rounds. Next round, we see a really cool, like, power spot kill strat just like the other rounds, but this round, we see SSG going Kitchen, which is a tertiary strat that people think is the 3rd strongest on this map in terms of defense. Now, the first thing you notice is, okay, Benjamin Master is hiding the Caveira. Why are they going that? They're going for a pocket play. Now, obviously, SSG are setting up the top floor of this bomb site, because by making Vert on the top floor, sorry, you can hold down basically all of the site underneath. You can see Geisha here and Karaoke here have soft floors over the entirety of the site. Now, the big key to SSG's rat play that they're going to start off with at the very beginning of the round is they're going to barricade Benjamin Master inside bathroom. Here's why this might work against M80, because when M80 drones into bathroom right here, they'll see the barricaded door actually barricaded from the other side, right? Meaning that, typically speaking, there might not be someone in here because they don't see the bolts on the inside. They think that, you know, there's no one in here. They just barricade it off. It's a free gap for us to take, and then Benjamin Master's gonna get free interrogation with the Cav, or just a free pick in general. Benjamin Master sees that the drone basically misdrones him. It like gets the Goy on the other side, hops back. Benjamin Master's pretty confident that, you know, this guy just didn't see him, so he goes up to the window to catch Diffuser when he's most vulnerable, when he's about to shoot down the window, essentially. Unfortunately for Benjamin Master, he doesn't succeed in the kill, and Diffuser, while shooting down the window, lights up Benjamin Master, and now he's stuck in bathroom. The biggest issue here is that the window tables over here cuts off Benjamin Master's escape, and his escape is also held by Diffuser. Typically in a Pro League strat, you have your set position start at the beginning of the round, so it's not complicated because there's so much utility in the game. You don't want to fuck up like someone not bringing a certain wall open, so you want to get every single wall or barricade or whatever you want open to like make sure the strat's done correctly. And that's why you typically see so many strats being rigid and so many like adaptations not happening, because there's so much bandwidth happening in that regard of the game. The biggest thing here M80 does super well is they immediately rotate all their players away from whatever the fuck they were doing to focus on Benjamin Master. Upside down repel player on the bathroom window, cutting him off. A player outside tables window, cutting off his leave from the bathroom door. Diffuser also outside the bathroom window, double crossfire on this, and as you'll see, eventually Kino also getting on the rappel, so that Benjamin Master has 0 chance of getting away, and M80 have essentially again guaranteed themselves an opening pick. On Skyscrapers, most defenders on the most power spot map, where so many defender positions are so rat-like, it's so easy for defenders to have power and sneakiness and crossfire and angles. M80, by being able to shift their bodies and util across the map and isolating these positions, get so many opening kills in their favor. Now, if you look at the bodies of M80 after they get this pick, they get 2 players immediately outside the black stairs on the balcony of Shrine/Dragon/Black Balcony. You know, different calls for this, whatever. This is essentially showing that they want to go for a black stairs clear right now. But Fett, what is a black stairs take? Well, let me get in a custom game and show you guys. As you can see, kitchen bomb site is underneath me. I'm able to make a bunch of vert holes here. These are the most common ones to see all of the site. You make them in Geisha connector, and they can see almost the entirety of barbecue, every single vert plant spot that's in there. And also by just having Geisha, you can have Geisha hatch and the Geisha window hop in, or not the Geisha window hop in, the kitchen window hop in, sorry. And that's basically that. Now, everywhere seems exposed to these holes in this side, except for one little spot. If you punch the chair out under this table, tuck in underneath, then you're basically completely safe. And where do you get access to that? Well, first you need tables control. I mean, you already got that by clearing out that player inside a bathroom. And then you need black stairs control. Walking down black stairs, breaching open this wall, or walking in straight through the side door. That's exactly how you get into that position, and that's the 2 pieces of minimal control. Also making sure that the one spot on vert, which is Karaoke pink corner, is not being held by the defender. So that's exactly what M80 look like they're going for now. But I basically just went through saying all that for nothing, because M80, they go black stairs, they look at this for a little bit, and they're like, you know what? This is not fucking worth it. And so Gunner basically solo lurks on office side, creating a lurk counter pressure on that side, and Kino kind of looked like he's just giving up on this take, because as you can see, they have Goyles, they have smokes close, and T. They basically can stop that push against the shield with as much util as possible. They make the right call to completely flip the push, and this is the importance of having really, you know, facilitative players, smart players that can take the info and just rotate it completely away from something that would not have worked out for them. And with Hot and Cold being on opening Geisha wall on this opposite side of the map, they decided to flip the push entirely around to the other side by taking top Geisha, which holds over kitchen side like I showed you in the game earlier, and rotate around to entering through the drum position, which will give them leverage to enter into Geisha. Now here's where M80 take that 5v4 man advantage and literally push it all the way to a win. When people talk about converting an opening kill or opening death, this is the perfect example of how you use refrags to push man advantage all the way down to the deep end into a full win. So Gunner runs in, looks a little bit like a moron, and immediately dies. Hot and Cold is looking for that refrag and repels in, goes for a overzealous peek on defaults, and also dies basically to the exact same guy. But unfortunately, at the same time for them, Kino walks into the same position because these vert holes are looking through exactly where Kino is about to walk in, because the player just showed themselves that they want to go through drum. SSG identified that they do want to go through drum, so the players of SSG have now come from underneath to support this. Kino knows that and then peeks under that as well. Diffuser at the same time hits sight at the exact same time because he knows pressure is made top. The SSG's eyes will be focused on the top pressure and not him going for sight picks inside of restaurant, and that's how he's able to hop in through table's window right there. And so by all committing to these plays together, they're able to even it out to a 3v2 again, and off of that control, Kino makes contact with the player inside of T. And you see here how much M80 are committed to playing that refrag with each other, that coordination with each other on the same frags. Gavin immediately starts rapping to kill this guy in pink, but he doesn't die to Gavin. He dies to Diffuser from underneath. Where's Diffuser? Inside a toilet. Because guess what? Diffuser, even though being completely underneath in tables, is able to walk into toilet and start going for a floor bang on the guy through bathroom, because that's how focused the team is on communicating, coordinating, and refragging, even though he's on a totally different floor from his teammates. That's the type of awareness and communication you need on a pro team. Even if people are across the map, it matters so much to communicate the situation to them so they can play together in that regard. Even with 10 seconds left, they don't panic because they know if they go give their lives away one by one here, it'll be a lost round. And thankfully for them, they win this round, pushing them onto 4-0. Perfect attacks and winning on every single, at least main site, 3-site rotation on Skyscraper so far. Now, moving back over to T for round 5. The strongest site once again, SSG running a similar strat where they extend the office again and hold Geisha, all the typical jazz like we've seen before, but M80 decide to flip the script entirely. They go for another insane opening kill strat, but this time they do it on the opposite side of the map. You see, SSG setup has a lot of reinforced wall on the karaoke site. Namely, they protect this karaoke site player from walking in and out of karaoke rotate without getting wall banged from the top black door, as well as players in the T site from getting wall banged from pink window, whether they exit through either one of the T doors. Now, one of the most popular attacks in Siege is to walk in through top black door. It's the most direct access to site, and use a shield to walk in, probably get a kill on this guy playing in karaoke site, and then because their reinforcements are already there from the defenders, you could just plant anywhere along this corner because site is free and you're protected by the defender's own reinforcements. That's why defenders will play a crucial position on black stairs, one of the most popular positions in Pro Siege, and a super important anchor position once again to make sure nothing is happening on that end. And that is actually the exact position that M80 are looking to target with their opening kill strat. They have Amaru ready to fly in through bottom black window with the shotgun. Now, typically the bottom black stairs player plays shotgun himself because he gets so many close range engagements from people walking at him through bottom black stairs and top black stairs. You want to play a shotgun in order to catch people walking up on you properly and smoke in order to deny one end or the other as you're being pushed. M80 bring the Amaru, who has the most powerful shotgun in the entire game, and the Zofia in order to stun the Black Stairs player with the concussion mine as they're rappelling in to deny sound to make them completely unaware of the fact that the rappelling even is happening. At the same time, Gunner is on karaoke window in order to deny the two vert spots that can be played onto the player pushing him from bottom black. Gunner already takes an engagement there. I'll go more in depth about that later, but let's look at the play first. Han Cold gets ready. Line call comes out. Stun comes through. Amaru comes through. It stuns the smoke. Amaru walks in and immediately wins the gunfight with a shotgun, and a blitz of kills come through with Gunner getting a kill as well. Let's talk about this Gunner kill because you see this vert happening right now, and you saw the holes that were made on this end as the diffuser was repelling in. Gunner on the karaoke window is so important because look, these holes hold exactly the window he came through and also the walk up black stairs, because pro teams are used to this. Pro teams are used to people coming in from underneath with a blitz shield, pushing up black stairs to kill their black stairs player because it's such an important spot. Therefore, they usually have a guy over here holding this vert through on anyone trying to walk up the staircase, and therefore being on this window pressures the player off of this vert, as well as he's able to chuck a nade over the top of this corner to make sure no one is playing on this vert inside of karaoke, holding the walk up black stairs as well. And so by Gunner existing on this rappel, throwing nades, shooting the guy that tries to kill diffuser on the rappellant, he's able to do so much work. Let this guy repel in, get a pick immediately. Fultz hops out, shrine balcony to get, a reasonably good kill because that's a counter. He anticipated the black play, so he anticipated going outside for a kill on the player outside top black door. But now M80 have black stairs control and top black control. They're able to cross this shield into the rotate and start putting down the plant. And now SSG's reinforcements that they were using to protect themselves from the pink repel bite them in the ass. The plant is completely free, so they desperately try to scramble to retake the site, and they start over peeking, over swinging, and SSG completely reset. They completely sit still because they know SSG are in the loser seat. They're in the back seat. They're the ones that need to get picks and over swing to retake top black, and M80 just completely punish it, shut them down, and execute a near flawless round with another opening pick. By defense being so powerful and that black stairs position being so predictable, and when you're able to focus all their efforts onto killing that one guy and translating the entire advantage into a round victory. Not only that, they didn't only account for the black stairs player, they accounted for all the vert that was being held on the black stairs player, all the angles that you would never expect. How many of you guys in ranked are thinking of those vert angles that are holding from Geisha onto bottom black stairs through two sets of holes, the floor holes and the wall holes, to hold all the way onto bottom black stairs? I bet none of you guys are thinking about that, but M80 are accounting for it because that's how deep these pro strats go, and it doesn't really get talked about that much. And so for the final round, this round is actually a round that SSG actually, I think, strategically outmaneuver M80 on. They go back to office. They extend opposite side again because you want to extend across in this map. You could also use opposite side control to deny the site. If you're wondering why Ashen's making holes and then reinforcing the wall next to it, it's because if you put a thermite on the hard right of this wall, you can actually break into drum. It also breaks the adjacent wall, so making a hole next to a wall that goes outside actually lets you deny that thermite from happening. Now you know if you just learned something from that. Just by looking at M80's lineup, however, they have the Buck, they have the Grim, they're going for the exact same power play strat with the Blitz hopping in through Samurai window and Buck going in underneath and bucking people off of the Grim charges, denying the site powers positions once again. Kino starts pressuring the window and making it very clear to SSG that it's a site directed. Diffuser hops in underneath and once again starts going for buck plays where he starts bucking at the floor and power positions. Diffuser actually ends up winning a gunfight through vert, but this alerts SSG, hey, this is the exact same clear. So you actually see the players of SSG over here walking down the staircases and doing a really good counterplay against Diffuser. They noticed that, hey, off the Grims and the Bucks underneath, that's what was allowing them to move our power position players out of position. This time, if we kill the Buck underneath, we can now play in our spots and comfortably win out the round. And that's exactly what they do. The player runs down at Diffuser underneath, takes a gunfight with them. Diffuser is 1 HP and is unaware of it, and Newers gets the kill onto Diffuser. Now M80 are in a position of disadvantage. Not only that, Gunner on the opposite side lurk over. He's actually going off of pressure made into the site by his teammate. He's probably thinking if SSG are spending that many resources running people downstairs against Diffuser and anticipating the direct push from M80, they're probably not looking or caring about the opposite side of the map. Unfortunately for Gunner, even though it was a good reason to play, Benjamin Master was completely ready for it. So now at this point, it's a 4v3, and SSG have actually strategically completely countered M80's playstyle. But unfortunately, for SSG, MAD have Kino. And I want to highlight this player because Kino is the only player on this MAD team who wasn't part of the Beast Coast 5-man roster that won the Manchester Major over a year ago. He was in the hot seat to stage because he was essentially the replacement for Spirits, the best shield player in the world at the time that they won Manchester. Kino was also a known shield player for his entire career in Pro League, but he was very inconsistent and he was a much more aggressive shield player than Spirits. So at this point in the league, I think a lot of people were putting pressure on Kino's shoulders to perform, especially since he had a lot of inconsistent games early in the stage. But I think this game was a start of Kino showing the world that he is a fucking maniac on these shields. Walks in and just straight ADSs, hits a headshot on J9 on a crossfire, walks up close, look at the spacing, gets meleeed, flashes him, peeks back, doesn't even go for the next guy, finishes the down player, defaults on his right, sees the player inside of Dragon, spaces him out entirely, and off Kino's entry alone, MAD take a perfect 6-0 half on Skyscraper, the most defender-sided map in the history of the game. They would end up 7-0ing SSG, taking a flawless victory over the champions of North America last stage, cementing their revenge. And not only that, they would go on to qualify for the Munich Major, fight through the most competitive event in Siege history, and win that event. Where on Skyscraper, through stage 2 and the Munich Major, they would have a 70% attacking win rate on Skyscraper. 21 out of 30 rounds, where the defensive win rate at the event was 55% with a 45% attacking win rate. They had a 70% win rate. Now, unfortunately, at the event itself, they actually did lose it in grand finals against Falcons, which is kind of crazy. Like, Falcons just whipped it out of nowhere, like, showed no fear against a mini on it and just slammed them on it. So maybe Falcons are the best guy in the world, but definitely for sure, and MAD innovated the fuck out of Sky. Like, at the event, Wildcard, a team from NA, ended up 2-0ing W7M, a tournament favorite because they were former major champions, in a complete upset by beating them on Skyscraper. And after the game, Hankel tweets, "Nice Sky attack, Spiker. I'm taking notes," because Wildcard was the second best Sky team at the event, attacking wise, because they were inspired by a lot of MAD attacks. Like the round I showed earlier with the Amaru while everyone else was pulled on the opposite side of the map, that was from MAD, obviously. Literally the round after that. Does this look familiar to you guys? Does this look familiar to you guys? The exact same bottom black stairs kill. Now, okay, this wasn't invented by MAD, I'm not gonna lie. This was a common strat before that, but still, like, there's a reason why these two teams were the best in the world at this, and then NA from as well. The Amaru shotgun going up black stairs, again, similar shot to what we saw earlier in the video. But when they played each other on the main stage on Skyscraper, MAD ended up taking the win on that. So there you go. That's how the #1 Siege team in the world who won the major solved attacking on Siege's most defenders on the map in history. How you can use utility and strategy coordination, cutting off angles, taking care of angles that cut off angles that hold angles for defenders, in like a beautiful chess game of FPS that is Siege, and just pick apart defenses that think they're holding invincible positions, but they're really not. Anyways, hope you enjoyed these breakdown videos. Love you guys. Take it easy. And yeah, see you.